Well, do the Greens share Anthony Green's analysis of their preference deal with Labor? A short time ago, the Greens leader, Bob Brown, joined me from our Adelaide studio. Senator Brown, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Lee.
Labor and the Greens announced a preference deal today, but then you said later that voters should make up their own minds. What's going on there? Are the Greens happy with this preference deal or not?
Well, the Greens have had some very diligent people working on preferences with the other parties, but I've made it no secret for years now I don't think there should be preference deals. I tried in the Senate. I moved a bill for above-the-line voting in the Senate so that voters chose their parties in the order of choice, not the political parties. But of course Labor, the Liberals and the Nationals voted that down because they don't want voters to have that choice. I think they should. And so we've got to have preference negotiations because you've got to put in a form for preferences to the Electoral Commission a week or two out from the election, and that leads on to negotiations for the House of Reps. But I'll try again in the next Parliament to get rid of it. It's up to voters to choose who they want to put number one, and they're quite intelligent enough to choose who they put number 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we'd avoid such perverse outcomes as the election of Stephen Fielding on less than 2% of the vote with Labor preferences, which Labor voters hated in Victoria just a few years ago, if we were to leave it to the voters. But
the rules that you're talking about only affect upper house or Senate preferences, don't they? So, I mean, why have you had to do a deal for lower house preferences if you don't actually agree with it?
Well, exactly. There shouldn't be preference negotiations for either, but there always are, because if you don't get involved in preference negotiations, you get cut out, and your voters do, and your candidates do. It's a perverse system. It should be abolished, but it's there. The Greens take part in it the same as every other political party, and there'll be how-to-vote cards as a result of that in, I'm told, 50 or so seats. I heard that on the ABC today. And, but my advice is, regardless of that, people should go into the polling booth and vote for the people they want in the order of choice. And if people want to give, I'd advise them to vote Greens number one, but if they're going to do that, then go to the Labor Party or the Liberals or the Nationals or the Socialist Alliance or for the independent of their choice.
So basically you're saying to people, well, ignore the preference deal that my party's announced?
Exactly, and ignore the preference deal that Labor's done and the Liberals have done, and put your own preferences where you want to.
But I can't imagine that Labor would be very happy having negotiated this deal and to give you their